Hi, beautiful people. Welcome you to our beautiful interview with Annie Catterall here. And before we get going, I'll read out a beautiful disclaimer. So I'll read it out because otherwise I stumble over my words. So I'm not a medical doctor. Annie is not a medical doctor, and we are not your doctor. So the information that you will hear today and that you will see in this video is provided for general information and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. For any health concerns or medical conditions, please always consult a qualified physician or healthcare professional. So, the methods or applications shown may reflect individual experiences and their effects can vary from person to person. So, any use of this information is at your own responsibility. Okay, this is done and out of the way. I'm Tatjana Creeley, and we've got Annie Catterall here, and we've got our topic today, the 8 things that no doctor told me. I hope I didn't mess that title up. I keep stumbling
Oh no,
across.
you got it in
I
one.
got
Thank
it.
you.
Oh my God, excuse my German brain ticks sometimes differently. So, yeah, I'm coming from a therapist background. I'm a bone therapist and I have been for 25 plus years. So that's been my go-to and natural health. I sort of stumbled across into this. And I'm always curious about what else is out there. So there is, yeah, a beautiful journey for many people to find what works for them and finding their answers because they have no choice because they probably got stuck and couldn't get anywhere in this time. So I'm quite curious to hear what Annie has to share today about her story because I'll have to say she has some really, really interesting things to share, which I'm probably not quite aware of yet, but just the title intrigued me enough to say we need to talk. So Annie is here. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Tatiana.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
And
having me.
tell us a little bit about yourself and can you take us back to your early days because you are a nurse or have you done anything else? And what did your life look like when you were working as a nurse and did your life look like in general? And what happened then as well with your own health and life that made you realize that, hang on, we need to change something. Something is not the way how it should be.
I was actually homeschooled. My parents were super crunchy and ahead of the curve, well and truly before their time. And so at the age of 12 or whatever, I had a dream that really impacted me, and I interpreted that dream to mean that I was meant to be a doctor and to heal the world. And so with that I guess dream, or that naive I won't say naive, but it was a dream that I began to pursue for the next 12 years. Um, uh, I found myself working towards studying to be in medicine. And because I was homeschooled, didn't have the grades for an enter score to go into uni straight out of school. So I did a gap year and I taught music. I'm a musician. And then I worked at a company selling continence aids, believe it or not, with people where I went to church with at the time. And then in that involvement, they were going on a mission trip, and they're like, Annie, you should come, it'll be great. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, I've got nothing else better to do. It'll be an experience. And so I went and got all the immunizations they recommend for that country. And within days, my health took a turn. And I'd never had any health issues when I was a child, like other than the cold, and I had chickenpox twice. I never had any health issues, and so suddenly I was falling asleep at my desk at work, and I was chronically tired, and I was having all these funny pains, and funny episodes to do with my heart, and so I cancelled my trip and didn't go, and I didn't really know what had gone wrong or gone awry, and so it was a little bit of a um, slow connecting of the dots over the subsequent years. But then, and I went and I worked my way up in aged care. So I started out as a carer, and then I went on to do my nursing, and then yeah, I came 2020, just before COVID hit, I couldn't nurse anymore because my symptoms were so bad, that I just thought, oh, I better hang up the stethoscope. I better tap out. So yeah, so that's kind of a brief overview as to the culmination of the last 14 years or so, of my life, and in the process of trying to figure out what was wrong with me and how to get better. I found some very interesting alternatives, and many that I mention in my book that aren't specific to my condition, that I was diagnosed with, but can help anyone in any kind of chronic state or illness.
Okay. So that's a fair few years now. So until you started to shift in the end to starting to look for answers, is that right? We're talking how many years?
Well, so gosh, I exhausted the medical model, put it that way,
Mm.
for the first 10 years, 8 to 10 years. I also saw a naturopath who used iridology. And so she'd look in my eyes and be like, oh my gosh, you've got this happening, you've got that happening. And so I used a few different models, but in 2018, I started using aromatherapy. And so aromatherapy was one of my first tools that I
Okay.
started applying, and I had massive detox reaction with that. I can send you some photos actually of what it looked like. Uh,
Okay.
I had this
Interesting.
whole breakout on my face. It covered my cheek. It was like someone had smacked me and then it ulcerated. So I had this whole thing come out of my cheek, and I was taking a um, high antioxidant content supplement juice thing, and yeah, it brought a lot of toxins out of my skin. That's for certain. But I didn't put two and two together. Just
Yeah,
kept
yeah. I guess that's probably one thing that if you're not familiar with it, when it comes out your skin, it actually says your body is overloaded with toxins, and some people don't relate. I know when you're into homeopathy and you look at the body as a holistic, you know that the skin is just a mirror of what's happening on the inside of the body. So if you flare up, I know my son, he had skin issues and it showed, well, there was a gut issue downstairs. It so how was your daily life affected? Like how did your life look like before you started to find answers or searching? How were you feeling, or what was your day look like?
So I worked part time in the end, caring and nursing. And so I probably did about 3 or 4 shifts a week. And when I wasn't working, I was in bed. I was horizontal, and or on the couch, and I had very little energy for anything. And if there was a social event that I wanted to go to, then I would save, we call it in chronic illness, counting spoons or spoonies. So if you've got 15 spoons a day, and it costs 3 to have a shower, and it costs 4 to leave the house, you're not left with a lot of resources and energy to get yourself about. So that was how I approached it. And so if I had a social event I wanted to go to, then I would do whatever I could to store those spoons, save those cookies, and spend it. And then I needed a few days in bed to recover at least. And so I started to shrink myself significantly. Lost friendships and things like that because I didn't have the bandwidth to go and to be and show up.
So
So I felt like I felt really akin to the elderly patients I looked after, because I felt like that was how I felt on the inside. I was in that much pain. I was that tired, like I was in my 80s or 90s.
you could really relate. And you were actually, excuse me if I asked that, at that time, how old were you?
Yeah, no, I would have been in my early 20s.
Well, you should do other things. I remember when I was in the early 20s, I was jumping up and down on the, I don't know,
Oh,
dance
I
floor
missed
and
out. I
stuff
missed
like
out
that.
on my youthful 20s. So, um, yeah, I know now well and truly what it feels like to be aged or
Yeah,
old.
right.
So I have no intention of returning back to that state anytime soon.
Yeah, no. Wow, wow, that is interesting. Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that. When you look at that time, did you have any like a key moment or key insight that made you go, hang on, I need to look beyond the symptom management? Was there something where you go, this doesn't work, I need to move on and try something different? Or was it just something that you were inclined to do anyway?
Well, so because I was interested in medicine and studying, and I really enjoyed my studies in nursing, even though they were all very Western um, and allopathic in approach. I started to join some dots, and I'd heard about this thing called the MTHFR gene, and then I'd correlated my downturn of my health with, when I had the travel vaccinations, and then when I went on to nursing, I really didn't want to get any more, and so I just kind of crossed my fingers, eyes, and toes, and hoped that I would be okay, even though I didn't want them. And so I put something as I was starting to, well, doing nursing studies, I learned how to research, and I was doing my own research assignment. And so I had access to things like Google Scholar and PubMed and things like that. And so I started doing some research and just some things that twigged over time. It wasn't like I did a deep dive or anything, but yeah, because I didn't have answers in the medical model, they just dismissed me as having anxiety, and that wasn't enough, because I'm like, well, I'm not anxious, and I actually had quite a lot of trouble with my heart that was quite disconcerting. But if you're told there's nothing wrong often enough, then I just kind of fell into denial. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so I
So
did.
did you feel like,
I'd realized with like the MTHFR gene that things, even with medications that I was given to manage my heart symptoms, I didn't respond. I'd get more symptoms than I would have relief. So
yeah,
yeah, so I started to put things together.
um, I'm usually going the way where no one else is walking, like the path that Les walked in the end. So I'm just wondering, in that time when you were searching for answers, did you feel like you were completely on your own, or do you feel like there was anyone around you that felt like, or took you on a bit and said, okay, you need to look here or there or whatever, or was it just your own inner drive to say, I've got to find myself an answer because I don't get them where I ask?
Well, it's a good question. It was my patients actually that were really concerned. They could see something was wrong, and a couple of them pushed me to seek answers. But I was quite happy to slip away quietly into the dark night. And I was often, begging for the earth to open up and swallow me whole, or just that I would go in my sleep, because I did just kind of give up finding answers. But it was, the bond that I had with a couple of my patients that really, caused me to pull my finger out and to pursue it for them more so. And then when they died, then it was like, well, okay, great. Then so I still had them in my ear, until I finally decided, Annie, this is rubbish. You got to actually show up.
Yeah,
It's,
wow.
it was a it
Gosh.
was a it was a long wrestle with myself, because yeah, I was teetering from wanting to be here to not want to be here. And I've wanted to get married and have kids, and so I'd had a harsh conversation with one of my patients. She's like, "What do you think you're going to do? You think you're going to have these kids?" And well, I now know that the body, when it's struggling to keep us alive, people have issues conceiving. It's like, well, maybe you've got a lot of things going on in your body that, your body's struggling to keep you thriving, and
That's right.
as opposed to sustaining another life. So um yeah, so just things like that caused me to really have a hard look in the mirror, um about, what I was doing and my longevity. And but no, many times I was tempted to check out. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, gosh. I'm so pleased that we can talk today.
Oh my. Hey,
I know.
I'm so, it's funny in reflection, because I actually did a lot of emotional work once I had physical support and relief in my physical symptoms. Then I could actually go there and deal with all my emotional stuff that I'd, just been shoveling down, all my adult life anyway. And so once I had that kind of pairing, then I was really able to do some deep work and healing some stuff. And so I don't even recognize that person that I was. I'm so far removed. I've so
Oh,
come so far. So Yeah, I can, yeah, trigger warning, but I should have led with that. But I'm completely fully present. I've shown up, and I'm here to thrive. So
Yeah, well, you can see it. I mean, look, you're bright, you're shiny. That's amazing. I just like to confirm that patient carer relationship because I mean, working as a therapist myself, I always believe that the people that we care for or that we treat, they're there for us at the same time. So we heal together or we work with each other. And you just sort of confirm that beautiful connection that you are helping them, but they're helping you as well if we allow ourselves to see that at the same time. So
well,
that,
and in the industry, in the medical industry anyway, they're big on the professional line. But at the time, I thought I was circling the drain anyway. I'm like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, so I don't care. So I crossed those boundaries shamelessly.
yeah, wow, wow. Well, that's so now crossing boundaries. What were the first, some of the first practices you mentioned? What you use to detox, for example, or what came across you that yeah you found along your way, for example, that really you felt like things started to shift for you, where you felt like I think I'm on the right track. I have more, I don't know, more drive or hope, how you want
Yeah.
to call it, to move
So,
on.
so I have a wellness podcast with my business partner Jody Hadsel, called the Wellness Superheroes, and so we both had our health issues that we were trying to tackle, and so we'd try various things, and some of the things we tried made us worse, and some of the things we tried, kind of helped a little bit, but didn't move the needle enough. And so then Jody introduced me to light therapy, which at that point I was begging my doctor to put in a pacemaker, and I was getting on a disability pension. So I had fully checked out. I'm like, I've given up on trying to find a solution that's alternative that'll help me. I'll just finish off with a medical model. I'll just, demand that they put in something to regulate this, and then I'll just figure it out as I go. But yeah, that was 2.5 years ago, and then Jody was like, "No, Annie, this is really gonna help you. It's gonna help a lot of people." Which in the end, she couldn't convince me for myself. It was for others. So she said, "This is going to save a lot of people's lives. It's really going to help people, and I'm doing it with or without you." And so I was like, "Fine, okay, credit card, here you go, knock yourself out, whatever you think." And then they sat in a box for they sat in a box for a week. I still hadn't done anything with them. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, those things came. They can sit there. And then it was my birthday. It was my 32nd birthday, and I was working at a local pizza place at the time, and I'd worked a shift the night before and gone to bed with a heart rate of 150 odd, and then woke up in the morning with a heart rate of 140 odd, and so I felt like death warmed up, quite frankly. And then Jody rings me because she's in America and I'm here in Australia, obviously. And so she was like, "Oh, Annie, happy birthday. What are you going to do?" And so I was like, "Well, I had all this planned, but I'm feeling like this is what's up, and I'm going to spend it in bed." And she's like, "Have you put your patches on?" I said, "No." So she told me where to put them, and I'd already kind of been in the process of canceling, like preparing to cancel my plans for the day. I'd had my heart medication first thing in the morning, so it had been about 2 hours at this point, and I finally put my patches on, and she, yeah, and then within 10 minutes I was like, what the heck, that had quietened down, and I'd stopped feeling like death warmed up, and I proceeded about my day, didn't give another thought to canceling my plans. So that really, then it had my attention. Then I'm like, I think I said, turn to my mum, I'm like, what voodoo is this? Like, I was like, what the crap? Really, it did. It caused me to take pause and be like,
Oh,
what the heck?
wow.
Because nothing had that impact on me ever in anything I tried. Yeah. I couldn't, once it was off, I was off to the races, and there was no dialing that back. It was just a matter of time. and usually days in bed to recover. So for 10 minutes to be, yeah, feeling really good, not just normal, but feeling really good, yeah, had my attention.
Wow, that sounds like a wake-up call. But I just heard my own words because when I came across that light therapy, I was like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm quite sensitive energetically as well when I can feel things here and there. Even that, I didn't feel it as much like you because I didn't have a super condition or anything like that. But once I realized I was the same, like I've never come across anything like it.
No, no, it felt like something out of a um like out of a sci-fi movie or something. Like it felt very futuristic.
Uh, Push the
Because yeah,
button.
at the time I was like, sure, a little band-aid's gonna, yeah, sure, that's gonna help me. I was very
Yeah,
sarcastic about it
yeah,
when
yeah.
Jodie was telling me about it. So
Oh, amazing. That's so amazing to hear. So, how is your life now, and how has this whole journey now changed the way you live? I'm sure you probably used other tools along the way as well, but this seems to be the one
I
that
did,
stood
but yeah,
out.
mostly it's the light therapy now, and up until a couple of months ago, I was doing weekly IVs, intravenous
Mhm.
therapy. That's
Okay.
part of my management to manage my blood pressure and all that sort of stuff. Part of my condition, the condition that I was diagnosed with, and so yeah, so really, it's only just supporting my body because again, I mentioned I have the MTHFR gene, so I know that detox pathways aren't straightforward in my body. Though I know that the MTHFR gene can be switched on and off, like that there's been incidences where people have experienced that. So I'm like, well, it's just a matter of time, really. I'll just support my body on that
Yeah.
process. But
Amazing.
really, it's just more about my relationship to light. So I'm wearing these blue light blockers and like a zeolite or a chelation therapy to help my body detox of metals and things like that. And yeah, and the light therapy. So that's basically in a nutshell what I use, and adequate hydration is what I use.
And you shifted in how do I say how you not only supporting yourself now, but you are really coming back to even more of a helping soul because you tell your story in a beautiful book you just brought out.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And yes, show us your book and tell us about it because you are here to help others even more now.
Yeah, it's because I got the blurb. So yeah, the eight things no doctor told me. I wrote it really because I had a lot of people. Um, Let me just circle back. So the conditions that I was diagnosed with was POTS, and dysautonomia, and chronic fatigue syndrome and those sorts of things. So I actually wrote my book because I had a lot of people coming to me saying, Annie, I met so and so and they know someone who's got POTS, or Annie, my daughter or my niece or my friend. And so I thought, gee, I really need to put down on paper what helped me, because I could just see the incidence of people coming down with this, especially since the CV what that came out a couple of years ago. There's been a skyrocket in things like POTS and dysautonomia and all that sort of stuff. So I'm like, I need to have it on paper so that they can find it. And so yeah, it was really kind of an urgency thing that I put it on paper. And I'd probably spent about 9 months trying to figure out how to write it, and what was the most important. I didn't put it. It wasn't a. It's not my memoir. It's not my autobiography. I only talk about the things that move the needle in terms of what helped me improve.
Mhm.
Um, and not all of them cost exorbitant amounts of money. It's not all a plug for whatever product I've been using, but it's really just so that people can actually look at things like their relationship to light, like their relationship to technology, and understand kind of that might actually be impacting you more than you realize. So yeah, that
I
was.
guess that's a big point, impacting you much more than what you realize. I guess it's more about awareness at the start. So people will If you watch this video and you have anything that Annie was talking about, we will have the link of the book below the video as well, so you can find your way. You can contact me or can contact Annie, and we'll guide you along to find your own answers or research. But I guess that's what it's there for. And I'm a strong believer is whatever is meant to come to you will come to you. I've never searched for anything that I've been doing in my life. I've never searched for Bowen therapy. It just went like, here, this is what you do now. A bit like what happened with your friend with Jody and you, like, come on. And the same way how I came across a light therapy, people went like, look at this now. And I believe we will be presented with the right things at the right time. Sometimes it might be not only once or twice. I needed three hints in certain ways, and then you go, hang on, just be observant. So if it's resonating with you, I highly recommend to get in touch and get the book and have a look and see what answers you can find for yourself. Because I mean, we're all on our own journey, aren't we? And then we just got to find what's right for us individually.
So, I mean,
And
even though I was a nurse, I can explain things in highly technical terms. Because I was a nurse, you actually become an inadvertent educator anyway, because you're educating your patients in layman's terms, what the doctor has just come in and said. And so I didn't write it in the way that I'm a guru on anything. I've got a lot of links to resources and people where I learned what I learned, so that people can go and do their deep research. And obviously, because people are chronically ill, I didn't write it to be super thick. It's just like meant to be a little survival guide, so
yeah,
that it can help people. And I begin the book heavily saying, listen to your gut, trust what your instincts are, because whatever you resonate towards will be the right answer, be it alternative or allopathic. Whatever you resonate towards will be the right answer.
that's right. I totally believe that. I remember my Bowen instructor, he used to say, if this person wants a hip replacement, there is nothing else you can do. If this is what they think this helps them, they will need the hip replacement to feel better. And I always remember that. And I thought, yes, correct, because I'm the same. If I don't resonate with something someone shows me, I won't like it. I won't, it won't help me. So yeah, very, very big. I think we're in a time where we really need to come to finding our own truth and what really works for us. So it doesn't matter how shiny this person shows this one or that one, as long as you know what's right for you, this will be your right path. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Annie. So for helping souls or people who relate to your journey and maybe they might feel exhausted or stuck or might have similar symptoms or conditions like you had. So what gentle first steps would you invite them to take or any message you'd like to pass on?
Yeah, I will say about light. I'll say don't be doom scrolling if you can't sleep in the middle of the night. If you look at the screen any time of day, the light which is emitted from our technology is the equivalent to midday sun. So if you look at your screen without something, without like orange blockers, I haven't got them, but if you're looking at your screen just with the naked eye and even with your skin, it'll communicate to your body that it's midday, and so then you wonder why you can't sleep. So definitely look at your relationship with your technology, and get more sunlight. Early in the morning, in the evening for a sunset, go outside, get your skin on it, because that actually signals a lot to our body and our hormones and our cellular function. So that is yeah, it can't be underestimated at all, the impact that something like watching a sunrise or a sunset has on our body in terms of regulating our circadian biology.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful advice. And I think the other thing, if you do that, you get a bit of time to regroup and come back to yourself as well, if you really consciously do that. And I have to remind myself on a regular basis as well, because I'm a bit of a busy bee myself. But I know how good it feels when you do that. And if you give yourself the space, you get, I don't know, a feel for where to go next, maybe, or maybe thoughts drop in or something like that. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, because you brought to the present moment without
yes,
distraction. Absolutely.
correct. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Annie. What an amazing journey. I'm really, really grateful that you found this path for yourself and that you're nice and shiny and bright with a beautiful smile here and sharing this to the world now, because I think this is our aim to literally share the light in whichever way so we can, I don't know, make this world a better place for whoever is resonating with what we do at the same time. Um, Yes, I think we're about to finish off. As I mentioned before, you can find the links to get in touch with us. Whoops, I've got a message here. No, that's okay. Get in touch with us, and yeah, we can help you further to guide you in the right direction or answer your questions. And
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
anything to finish off? Are you done?
No, thank you so much for having me. I really
Yep.
appreciate it.
So just to remind you, it's the book is called The Eight Things No Doctor Told Me. You will find it. Yep. You will find it. Where do you sell
On
it?
Amazon. It's on
Amazon.
Amazon.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it became a bestseller in the first week of it being online. So yeah. So
That means people need answers. People are looking for answers. So if you belong to one of them, check it out. And I'm sure when the time is right, you might go a little bit like any initially, nah, I don't need this stuff.
yeah.
But
Yeah. If you feel a resistance, then don't go there, but go with what you resonate towards. There's a lot of things like hydration, very simple, that yeah, I talk about. So even self-talk and even our dialogue with ourselves. So
yep, perfect, perfect. All right. Thanks a lot. You have an amazing day, Annie. Thank you so much for coming along and sharing your amazing story and keep up the amazing work too.
thank you, Tatjana. I really appreciate it. And I look
Okay,
forward to chatting again.
bye.
Thanks.